About mid-year this year, we started up implementing basically RPA Supervisor, our control server, and then also uplifting the process. So it's not a very difficult thing, but it still requires some manual work from the developers. And it took us about 3 weeks time or so. I think Martin went on summer vacation halfway through it and came back to a setup. And well, it basically changed how we do RPA completely. So, as I mentioned, we had 2 people doing more or less full-time support on making sure the processes were running, stakeholders were contacted when stuff was not running, and so on. We're now down to less than a half FTE. Our half-hour morning support meeting where we discussed how to solve these issues and who to talk to is now 15 minutes stand-up, talking about what's coming, what's next, what are we doing, what are people working with. So completely turned on its head, right? And I think you have all seen, you might have all seen the card on the table, right? That could basically be a slide up here with different corporate visual identity on it. Those numbers are very much reflective of what we have seen in our implementation of it. So we are basically talking a reduction, 75% or so of our support role. When we are looking at issues now, we are not looking at scheduling issues, we are looking at process issues, right? That either the source system is not working or the process is not automated the right way and so on. So it's basically acts a little bit like a filter removing all the noise. The developers are really happy about this because it removes some of the very boring task of making sure the factory runs and freeing up their time to do actual development. We freed up all this time for the developers, managing to deliver about 80 robots uplifted on time for the ERP go live without any delays at all and any issues. So we tested and it worked. It is an upgrade from within the same system, right? But it was still something that needed change. There was some database changes and so on, functionality changes. So it has basically allowed us to free up our, you can say, a lot of our capacity and focus on some more interesting stuff, but also allowed us to focus on what's coming next. So we have just merged. We have not merged any of the business processes yet. So we have basically been able to convince the upper management that we need to be part of the discussions around sort of the final stages of merging these business processes, right? There's a lot of, you could say, that business controls. We have continuous improvement being part of asking the questions, is this really needed? But we would also like that we will be part of saying, should we tweak here and there to make sure we can actually automate when we come to it? We open up, there's a pretty cool add-in in the RPA Supervisor where you have human in loop that is necessary for some of our products. So we can add that into those discussions as well. And a dashboard interface where people, the product owners or the process owners in the business can actually see what's going on with the robot. So we have this dialogue around sort of not has my robot run today, but what is sort of should we update something, should we do this? It's more productive in what we get out of it, is what I'm trying to say. And then it has basically also lifted sort of the trust level in the organization that this basically just works, right? It's the month end, all these things, right? There's been good support in general, but this has just made it even more easy to knock down the door and begin to discuss end-to-end automation in the business. So really a big change of how we have been doing automation and a very big impact to how it's been running.